Hi, welcome to this live. If you are a busy business owner or executive that travels often, then the tips in this video are perfect for you to set you up for success for your next business trip. While I am in the midst of travel right now, I'm sharing tools that I have used to set me up for success. It is the same methods that I use for my clients to help them stay fit, maintain their fitness level, or even make progress with their goals while they are going through time zones, going through lack of sleep, going through stress, going through all the meetings of travel. These speed bumps that usually cause us to slow down with our progress, I'm going to give you tools on how to take those speed bumps out of the way and make speed with your fitness, nutrition, and health in the midst of making progress with your business. So again, I'm in the midst of travel right now, and shout out to the hotel where I'm staying. They are amazing. They gave me this private room to record this. They saw that I was trying to set up and just were amazing. So a shout out to them. This is in Des Moines, Iowa, in the capital. I'm staying at a beautiful hotel. Actually, where a few of the presidents actually stayed. So I'm very blessed with the service here, and thank you again and shout out to them. So first tip that we're going to go over is actually starting from your flight. So we have a lot of downtime depending on the distance that we're traveling, right? Of being in the airplane, especially right now that COVID is not as prominent. So we are having a lot of delays, a lot of overbookings on the plane, unless you're traveling private, of course. But if you're flying commercial, then there's a lot of delays and things that are getting in the way that's causing us to sit and just being on the airplane way more than we even planned for. So for example, on my trip here, there was some weather. I was sitting in the airplane for about an hour beyond when we were supposed to fly out. Layover was having an issue. Anyways, long story short, I got here way later than I expected at like 3, 4 in the morning. So even with that, I was able to stay with my fitness levels, and I'm going to share those tools with you right now. So the first step with my method that I actually use for myself. I believe in it so much, and the methodology that I've set up specifically for business owners and executives. With the 20 years that I've been in fitness, I now consult for that. So because I not only am in the midst of it as a business owner myself, I'm a government contract business owner and a fitness business owner, but I also have all this experience with fitness, nutrition, and working with some of the most amazing business owners in the world. So first tip, while you are traveling in that airplane, for example. So pillar one of my method is the ready. So my pillars are ready, aim, fire, and that is to do with setting you up for success with your fitness, nutrition, and mindset from the start. Since you have so much time that you're on that airplane, it is a great time to review your fitness levels, your goals, your agenda. So while you're just sitting there, instead of, reading a book is great and everything, but planning is, I love planning when I'm on an airplane. So the first step in my first pillar is health hygiene. So in the health hygiene, it's very similar to business that you use data analysis. So when you test the health of your business, it's very similar in that it tests the health of you personally to make sure that you're set up for success. And this is not just going over goal setting and medical history, but it's making sure that you are set up for success and multiple more in-depth biomarkers. So for example, I actually scheduled a lab for when I get back to test with the lab that I'm in collaboration with. And all my clients, all of them are going through this process as well, to test up to 77 biomarkers to make sure that even on a micro level that I'm getting taken care of. So about a week after I land, I'm going to go into LabCorp. They're going to draw blood. They're going to test my biology and see if there's any deficiencies that I may have. So just from experience, even if you are exercising regularly, even if your nutrition is amazing, if your biology, your biomarkers are off, so if you're deficient in something, you're still not going to do as great with your progress, and you're not going to feel as great. You're not going to sleep as great. Your moods aren't going to be as great. So knowing what for you personally is going on is super important. And I am a huge believer in getting biomarker testing to make sure that you know for you personally what kind of vitamins you should be taking for you, because we all should be taking a multivitamin. Magnesium is really important as we get older. I'm going in my 40s now. All these things are important, but to what level do you need personally? So I set up that lab draw for when I get back. So I did that on the airplane. So assessing that and setting meetings. If you have any medical meetings that you've been pushing off, it's a great time to book those while you are on the airplane, since you're sitting for so long anyways. Another thing is to make sure that you consider your physical limitations. So if you had, I have one example, a client, for example, he's flown over 5 million miles. He travels all the time. He has very, very bad shoulders from carrying suitcases and putting it over the overhead compartment with all this travel. So he sets up his doctor meetings to make sure that he is regularly getting his shoulders looked at to make sure that he is keeping those healthy in the midst of all this busy traveling that he's doing. So if you have any medical limitations that have really started to rise up as we get older, our bodies get worn out with travel, it's very demanding on our bodies physically, emotionally, and mentally. So make sure that if for physically that you have those doctor appointment meetings set up, talk to your executive assistant if she or he is doing that for you. Even going, if you're having a hard time psychologically with a counselor to make sure that you are staying healthy, not only physically, but emotionally and mentally. So doctor's appointments, biomarker testing, you can schedule all that and plan all that and even assess it while you're on the airplane. Also, in this first pillar for ready, besides health hygiene, again, as you set your business up for success with its health, you're setting your fitness up for success and assessing it while you're on the airplane. That is going over goal theory. So if you've been in economics or psychology class, you have learned about goal theory. So that's essentially setting specific, challenging, and attainable goals so that you are better set up for success and your performance is higher. So it's, again, a psychological tactic, but it's readily applicable in business, but it is also in fitness. So you are going to do an assessment of your goals. So goal setting, regular goal setting, specific, attainable, time-bound goals. And then not only that, but looking ahead at those speed bumps. So especially when you're going into travel, think, are there any speed bumps in this upcoming trip that might slow me down or throw me off track? So for example, coming to this trip, having foods, like knowing what food restaurants and everything were around, what those menus were, having a sleep schedule planned out, having a workout schedule planned out, because if I didn't have those all laid out ahead of time, I might have been thrown off and just going by, especially getting here so early in the morning and having delays. And I know you've had that's the same. I could have gotten very, very thrown off track, but having those set up ahead of time helps better set you up for success. Again, tying in your executive assistant to this is also a great strategy. So what are the speed bumps? Goal setting, what are the speed bumps? And setting up for this, especially this travel that you're going into, if you haven't already, make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. And not only that, but when you get home, making sure that you have a game plan for when you get home to make sure you have a restorative time and that you don't have speed bumps when you land. So the third part of this first pillar, which is ready, again, first is health hygiene, which we discussed, goal theory, which we discussed, going over that in the airplane, and then success factor is the last one. So for success factor, it's very similar, again, for business. If you've heard of success factor for business and setting your business up for success is very similar for fitness and setting your fitness up for success. So one example of how this is readily applicable for fitness is when I was doing one of my clinicals, I was working with NCAA athletes. And in the research for this, I got to do a lot of academic studies and reviewing all these academic articles that have been published and the results of them. And one of the things that really blew me away was that the athletes who went through the FMS screen, which is functional movement screen, didn't have as much prediction of whether they were going to be successful with their sports as much as did those who went through the success factor programming and combing through that assessment. So that's looking at not only the internal factors, so, the FMS screen and other movement screens and assessments that athletes go through. It's more about you physically and what's happening in you internally. But the success factor, it actually looks at not only internal, but external factors, which is so important during travel. So for example, for travel, what's going to be affecting your motivation? Those are external things that might be playing into your motivation. So that is the work that you're going to take on. That is the people that you're working with that you're going to have to deal with. Those are all external factors that are going to affect your success with your fitness and health while you are on travel and when you get home. Your family, how is your family affecting that and taking, either helping or adding or taking away from your motivation and time to dedicate to that? Even seasons. So for example, it is very hot here, 90+ degree days. So anything that's planned for outside is going to be very tough for fitness. So I chose a place with a really nice gym facility to use and brought equipment with me just in case. So again, external factors are going to be your work, your people that you work with, your family, the seasons, time zones. Going through time zones is going to affect your energy and your sleep. Those are all things that are going to affect your fitness and nutrition progress while you're traveling. Even location, excuse me, even location is really important. For example, here in the middle of the Midwest, the food choices are not the best. It's very huge portions and very country oriented. So making sure that you are aware of what is around you for food choices. And even if you're eating out, excuse me, making sure that you're looking at the menu ahead of time. And if there's nothing on the menu, you actually can ask for, can I have some chicken, sweet potatoes, and a vegetable with this? I know it's not on the menu, but please charge me accordingly. You don't have to conform to what is actually at that restaurant all the time. If you say you're on a special diet, especially if you're really serious about reaching your fitness goals, you can have that special request to have those foods made specifically for you. One of my clients, for example, he actually has reaches out to the hotel and asks for specific types of room service at certain times of the day. He actually has his executive assistant set that up. So again, external factors that are going to affect your success factor, just as you would analyze and look ahead for your business to make sure that you're set up for success, you are going to do the same with your fitness and nutrition. So again, it seems like it's very daunting, but it's really not. It's very simple. Again, looking over while you're in that airplane that you're sitting and killing time anyways, looking over the health hygiene, looking over goal theory and your success factor to make sure that you're set up for success for travel and that you are going to make progress while you're away versus going backwards like a lot of people do when they're on business travel.